Like to call to order the August 24th, 2022 Townsend Conservation Commission at 7:02 p.m. I have a roll call, please.
Matt Jello,
Goldie Strader.
James Gates,
Joan Savoy.
Linda Mack, Karen Leclerc,
Kevin Smith.
the meeting's being video recorded. And is there anyone else recording? Chairman's additions and deletions. I do not have any. I also do not have a chair report for tonight. 1.5, review, approve the meeting minutes from 7:27 and the emergency meeting minutes from 8:05. Anyone need to go through them quickly or?
Yeah, do you have a copy of that?
That was 27. That's the emergency one.
Okay. Which one's first?
Doesn't matter.
27 is on first on the agenda. I'm gonna abstain, James, because I missed that meeting.
Okay.
The 27th.
You good?
I'll pass.
Does that need to look at them quickly? Or there's nothing in my eyes that stood out at either of those meetings that.
Okay.
Do you need to look?
I'm good. I'll check.
I know Kevin's answer.
There you
All right, so we need a motion and a second, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the 7:27 meeting,
I'll
as well as
second
the
it.
emergency meeting minutes.
I'll
Second.
Oh,
go.
yes.
Oh, sorry.
You've got, Kevin, you have to break it up. You know why I have to abstain from one, but not the other.
You know,
We have to do the.
Why don't you make that motion then?
Do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we.
Which one were you not at?
I'm
The 25th.
gonna do it. I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the meetings from meetings that was held on July 27th, 22.
Second.
Do you,
Right.
You
Yeah,
agree?
I accept it.
Yes.
James, yes.
Abstain. Yes.
And yes,
Kevin, yes.
Next, we have the emergency meeting from August 5th.
made the motion to accept the emergency meeting minutes from August 8th, 22, August 5th, excuse me, 22.
Second.
Yes,
And Colby Strader, I'm gonna abstain because I was not at the meeting.
James, yes.
Yes. Joan, yes.
yes, and yes,
Kevin, yes.
Okay, 1.6, agents report. Hi, Jessica. How are you?
Hey all, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Hi, Jessica.
hey, Jessica.
All right. Hi.
Jess.
Hi. All right, agent report. Dates covered August 8th through the 19th. Building permit interdepartmental signatures. One was for 9 Gilchrist Road with a note about compliance with the determination of applicability, which is going to be on our agenda for tonight. I also signed off on 130 Lunenburg Road. We did not have any referrals completed during that time period, and I just signed off on a second form for the Board of Health for 6 Shirley Road. I think they misplaced the first one. Still awaiting one compliance item for the request for OOC extension for 27 Scales Lane. Oh, sorry. I made a typo in here. Comments were added for TWB 138 dash, whatever we're doing tonight, 8 through 10.
Bless you.
Sorry. Thanks, everybody. Bless you. We had the NOI for 6 Shirley Road, DEP file number 3080692, and we approved the order of conditions at the 8:10 meeting. Signatures and it's being sent out was done this week, so did not make this agent report. We had an intake for the RDA for 9 Gilchrist Pool installation. That was on August 3rd. The emergency project for the pedestrian bridge on Brookline Street. We had a site visit and emergency certification issued to the Highway Department by me on August 8th. And then you as the commission signed the document on August 10th. Still ongoing continued efforts to contact applicants with outstanding orders of conditions to get their certificates of compliances filed. We had some compliance coordination for 73 Emery Road for an OOC from 2009. Ongoing compliance coordination for 225 Mason Road, order of conditions from 2015. And ongoing compliance coordination for 19 Main Street, the high school, their order of conditions from 2015. I did a scheduled check-in with Mass Wildlife for the Squanicook Wildlife Management Area. That's on our agenda for tonight. And some initial coordination with the resident for a possible project at 162 Fitchburg Road.
Jessica, what's the compliance item that you're waiting for 27 scales?
The proof that the order of conditions was recorded at the Registry of Deeds.
And then what were the compliance coordinations for those 3 properties?
Some of them were results of our typical compliance check-ins that we do. 73 Emery Road was just a Title V inspector who I think was helping with the closing of a property or something, and they had an order of conditions still open from 2009. So we're going to work with him to get a request for COC so they can close that out. And then a similar story for 225 Mason and 19 Main Street. Those have been on our list. So we've just been working with the applicants to get their requests filed, even though those permits are long expired. So probably in the next agenda or 2, we should be getting their request for COCs covered.
Does anyone have any questions or input or?
Good job.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thanks.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Matt.
I'm Matt.
Hey.
Matt, do you
Hey,
have
guys.
anything you'd like to add?
No, I think she covered everything.
No hearings and appointments, but so we're gonna move on to 3.0 work sessions. 3.1 TWB 2022-134 9 Gilchrist Road, request for determination of applicability for the installation of an in-ground pool deck safety fence within 100 feet of a wetland. Gavin's here, Julie's on Zoom. There she is. I guess if you don't mind going over the project with us and giving us some insight, and then Jessica will give us her feedback and we'll have questions.
Sure. Yeah, so we're doing an in-ground pool, where we have an interesting situation with a pond at the front corner of the property where we want to kind of put the pool, so. And then we have a detached garage and then our existing home. And we've got a well there as well, so we've situated the pool the best we can with what we've got, and we're right around 58 feet from the pond.
Jessica, do you mind pulling up the satellite image just so the other commissioners can see it? And
Sure. Hartley, can I have screen sharing permission, please?
Okay, give me a moment here. One moment. Okay, Jessica, you're all set.
Thank you. Oh, hold on, I lost the screen. Hang tight. There it is. All right. Can we see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Say cheese. You're on screen too, I think. Yeah, so here's their house, the existing house, as Gavin mentioned, the existing garage. I think here-ish, if you guys can see my mouse, somewhere in here, just below the fire pit is the wellhead. And then down here is that wetland pond. So the edge of the pool and patio is proposed to be about 58 feet from the edge of that wetland.
Jessica, do you have anything else to add, or
Oh,
does
sorry.
the commissioners have questions that they want to ask? And then Jessica can keep going, or Gavin
Yeah.
can,
Let's do questions
anything?
first.
questions?
Question, you mentioned a well, where is the well at?
So it's just south of the circle,
It's right here.
exactly right there.
Okay.
So that's a rock to market, so I don't mow over the wellhead. But it's at the top of the mouse cursor, or where it was.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know if you guys could see it. I moved it.
Also, it's a free form pool, so or the kidney shaver.
Technically, I don't know what the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a.
I know you.
So way besides, it's 19 by 40 is the dimension of the pool. The 58 feet is a 3-foot concrete extension that'll be around the pool.
Okay.
On the south side toward the pond. Yeah, originally we thought we had a 10-foot offset from the wellhead. So originally the pool was gonna be a little bit further from the pond, but the offset from the well is 25 feet. So we had to angle it a little bit, which put that corner of it probably 20 feet closer to the wetland than what we originally anticipated.
Sure. What's there now? Yeah, just, is it lawn?
Lawn.
Yeah.
Brown lawn.
Yeah.
Here, let me, I have pictures that I can, sorry, I'm gonna make you dizzy for a second. Yeah, so here we go. You guys can still see that. So the wetlands here in the back, you can see the cattails. And then here is the outer edge of that concrete deck around the pool.
So, what's the slope like down to the?
It's pretty significant. It's probably, if I was to guess, I would say it's probably 2 feet from the house to that
Yeah.
corner.
The long gradual slope.
But that's probably over about 70 or 80 feet from the house to that corner.
Oh, yeah, all that and then some, yeah. It's not very much.
Right, yeah. But from a pool standpoint, we'll have to get creative, but
What's the elevation of the pool? I know you're concerned about groundwater getting into it and popping it if it's gonna be concrete.
so elevation as in terms of the bottom of it,
Bottom, pool deck height.
I'm not
It's a
sure.
liner pool, isn't it?
It's a liner
Yeah,
pool,
so
yeah.
they'll, it's gonna be down in there. The groundwater there's probably only 3 feet at best.
It's not gonna be a gunite pool that could
No.
pop and.
It's not, no,
It's
that's
a liner pool. They'll be fine in there, as long as it's full of water.
yeah. And that side will probably come up,
So 3 feet is that
probably
it
pretty
level.
close to 3 feet.
what it looked like.
So it'll be an interesting.
It'll set in there nicely.
It will, yeah.
Now, with raising that side up, are you gonna retain it with a retaining wall, rock, whatever, or you can just slope it down?
I think the plan right now is to slope that with the existing fill that's coming out, because we're losing all that on site. It slopes down quite a bit from the garage already. So in between those spots, so we'll lose all that fill in that whole back corner. And then go from there and see what it looks like.
What is the wetland part of, is it connected to Bark or anything?
I think that was a man-made pond, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and a
It
lot
was
of
a
that,
man-made wetland.
a lot of that side of town, that area is with that natural groundwater.
The high groundwater, I think somebody dug that. Looks like it was just called up there with a bulldozer, leveled off, and the grades raised up around it. I think in the springtime, it's catching water from the right-hand side, upper side towards where it looks like his camper is there. And right along where that high grass is, kind of behind the camp, it looks like there's a little swale that comes down out of the woods there. I think it probably runs into that. Then I think it runs across and runs down. There's a culvert across the road, about 100 feet down, I think, isn't there?
It is, yeah.
We probably couldn't mow that last year.
Right,
So it's just kind of a
right.
it's a little area that somebody built probably to create a little wetlands.
It's
Looks pretty
lined with, it's lined with clay.
Oh, it's long.
So somebody put clay in that.
They
In
were
order
trying to
to
create,
hold.
they were trying to create a little
Yeah.
wetland area.
When were those houses? What was that, was 80s?
80s.
That was
late
built in
80s.
'89.
Yeah.
Our house was built in '89.
But there's the old farmhouse across the street, so it could have been old,
That's 1800s.
yeah.
Right.
And then the
That's
whole
true.
road is, so that could have been,
We
Right,
did
and-
most of those.
Yeah, right.
I think we did most of those sites down that road, all the way down to Bloomberg line, and that's. It's all similar conditions all the way down through.
flat lot.
What part of Townsend have you not touched?
Probably not too much.
Not
If we haven't dug it up, we found it,
before,
which is most of it.
before a house was put in, yeah.
Well, we don't do, we don't,
Pat, do you have
What
any
else?
questions? Or
No, I mean, these guys.
No,
these guys.
do you have any other clarifications? And
When you, right when you
tied up
Craven,
morning?
Craven
That's
go,
right.
right,
I don't know what they want.
right when you turn down Gilchrist, opposite there,
One.
there's 12 acres of field up in the back.
Back in the bay.
Linda, do you have any
Nice.
clarifying questions?
I'm
or-
okay. No, I'm good. I'm good.
And do you have anything?
no. Pictures are great. Explanation was wonderful.
Yeah, good pictures.
Yeah, made it very clear. Thanks.
Kevin?
Jennifer.
No questions.
Jessica, do you have any concerns? What's your recommendation? Just about
Yeah, so I think sorry, the cat coming. The slope on site, that was one of my initial concerns too. So it's probably like I don't know, 2-ish% slope down to that wetland there. So I definitely would recommend some sort of erosion control barrier, at least on that downslope side closest to the wetland. So you guys can, if you agree, you guys can choose if you want silt fence or straw wattles or whatever. But I think given the slope and the excavation that will occur, that's probably smart. But otherwise, I recommend a -3 determination. And then with that addition of some sort of erosion barrier, no less than 35 feet from that wetland edge.
No, I don't know, you guys, I'm not partial in any sort of erosion control, silt sock, hooks or sock,
Yeah.
Wattles are easy to handle,
yeah.
quick.
You cut them open
And
and
then
you done.
when we're all done, just cut them open, we can spread them out when we actually see
so if you need a motion and
grass.
with the,
growing.
The wattle, so you have to trench and then put the wattle. You have to trench a little bit.
Yeah, just a
We've
couple,
been-
just an inch.
We've been told, yeah, and then stake, right?
And then how wide would those need to go? Just for the low spot?
Or
Or,
I run, you should run metal, you can buy them in 50, 25 foot, and 50-foot rolls. Yeah, I think you
you
should.
should buy
go
that
put it-
pallet.
I think you probably go 100 feet, I would think you want to go 100 feet across it, because your excavated area is gonna be 30 feet. With your slope, it's gonna be around 40 feet, you ought to get well past the width either side of it.
Yeah, just cover the perimeter of the working area and then maybe a little bit back up just in case, but that's maybe neurotic.
You put up 100 feet.
Having to clean it up
would be
stinks.
more than adequate, I think.
Yeah,
sounds good.
and like, there's a place up in Boston, you can buy it by the pallet
Yeah.
or any local places, but it's easy to handle.
Quick and easy, throw it in your truck and be done. Unless you wanna use hay bales, you can use any bills too if you want.
Those are
I think the
expensive.
waddles are.
So we need a
waddles are
motion
I'll
and a
make a
second
motion.
with the
cleaner.
recommendation.
I'll make a motion to recommend that there are siltation controls put in place
So
and
it's
then also a
negative-
-3.
Yeah.
And a determination.
I
I'll
second.
Well,
Sorry.
We'll give it to Pat, I guess.
You can have it, Pat.
Pat, are you in favor?
Yes.
Colby?
Yes.
James, yes.
Joan, yes?
Linda, yes.
Yes.
Kevin, yes.
So, you guys are all set. Jessica will do the paperwork. We'll sign it. She'll tell you when we don't wanna.
Sure.
I think I said,
Thanks,
because this one, just how our meeting schedules worked and legal ads and everything, and I think because I was on vacation too, we are exceeding, with permission, the 21-day normal turnaround time. But I'm pretty sure I said that we would have it to you guys by the end of the month, which is going to be next Wednesday. So I will try to draft these up so that they're ready on Friday morning for signatures. And then we'll need you guys to come in by next Tuesday, please. So add your calendar.
By the end of next week.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
No problem.
We don't want to open ourselves up for a lawsuit if we don't meet the deadline, so.
If it comes to us,
Yeah,
you'll have to
virtually.
get in line
Oh my
with
God.
others. And it's not us.
When do you plan on starting the work?
In October,
Oh, okay,
Perfect.
so
all right, good,
Hopefully it doesn't rain.
nice,
that's I mean, if it rains, I'm okay. with
Right.
that. Pushing it off if it's anything else.
It'll still be dry this October.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
Thanks
doing
for coming
all of it and
Thank you.
letting us visit and.
Well, thank you guys, appreciate it.
yeah.
Sure.
Enjoy.
You're welcome.
Great,
Bye-bye.
thank you.
Julie?
Thank you, sir.
No, Julie, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
So, yes,
This one.
Yeah.
the owner of-
The bill for his property.
Oh, okay.
She serves
And
on
he's
the
Property.
the
property
husband.
committee.
And
Oh, and
Gavin's
she
on the
serves
board
on
of
the
health.
property committee.
She's
Right.
serving me on the property.
She was on planning board.
And she was also with the dog
See,
committee.
Okay,
I
well,
don't know who these people are. I'm sitting here.
well, that's great.
We're doing
So-
well.
So have you noticed a lot of swimming pools coming before us?
Yes.
Global warming, what?
People
they're
aren't
all-
vacationing. They're all
Yeah,
staying
they are.
close.
Yeah.
It's just,
I know.
Very
it's
well.
amazing. But they're all, of course, what comes before us are, going into the wetlands. I mean, not the wetlands, the buffer zone, which is fine.
Well,
Yes.
DEP says on that, I was comfortable, because Jessica was, but also
Yeah,
it's 50 feet and they were
Yeah.
58, so.
Yeah, they were 58, so that was fine. But I'm wondering if, where do we want, when they go closer, and then they put a pool in, and then they go closer again, because they want to put something else, like, what do we want to do, because it's like we put these, buffers and orders of condition and that kind of thing.
I think we should talk about it next time it happens, but I also, just you saying that makes me think that it should be the deck and the pool should be presented, and we should know.
it
long as
was,
the
he
deck's
did,
outside.
he did present.
Right, no, I know
I'm
he
just
did,
saying in
she's saying in general,
I'm not
for the
talking
next
about
group,
specifics.
right, that's a very good point.
I think it has to be on a case by case basis.
Right.
Yes,
I don't think you can make a general.
yes. And
Except you feel, I would feel bad if somebody came to us and it was 30 feet from a wetland and we're like, no, you can't do swimming pool. I mean, that's
Sometimes
just
you have
like
to
hard to do.
Say no.
but that's why we're here to discuss it too.
Right,
But it's 30 feet too.
Also,
Right.
35.
also, as someone,
Right.
as I
35,
was
but if
reading,
they're 5 feet in, it's like, anyway.
well, and also as I was reminded today, hypothetically, someone can sue the town for not administering the bylaws. So if we
Right.
pass, we turn a blind eye to something, or
Right.
even out of negligence, whatever, we approve something that impacted, say, the neighbor, because we let the pool go within 5 feet, then it could come back, so we do.
Yeah.
We're
To
vigilant.
Linda's point though, if it were, personally, if I'm treading in those waters, I'm not doing the permitting myself. I'm hiring someone.
Yeah,
and I'm engineering it because
it's so close.
you're,
Yeah.
When anything is that questionable, that's where it ought to go, right to a civil.
because otherwise you're just gonna get yourself into
Right.
trouble trying to fill out.
Let them handle it, let them
But
handle it. They
the
know
other
what they're
thought
doing.
I had is that if it starts to get close, say 40 feet, then maybe a condition we put on is that that is the map, or if we say 35, something to bring to their attention.
The
That like,
footprint,
The 30, that's where the
Right.
35-foot rule comes in.
I know, but I mean, it's like, is it helpful to let them know, or like, no, this is the extent of your expansion into the buffer zone? blah, blah, blah,
well, that's
something
part of
like
the bylaw, and I feel that they should be knowing that, and it should be
Yeah.
the footprint.
that. A lot of homeowners don't.
Well, and DEP is 50 feet though, so I think, case by case, as Ann
It
said,
has to be.
we'll just, if we get one that's questionable, then we do some more
Yeah,
homework.
I'm just wondering if we should have a standard condition that just as a reminder, no disturbance within 35 feet, something like that, so that they're aware,
Is it in any of the paperwork that they are given, what they
Yeah.
need?
No, they don't get a
formal
copy
permit.
of.
Maybe when the people come in, just say, there is a rule, the 35-foot rule. We wanna try to adhere to it. Make sure you don't spit within the 35 feet. I don't,
Well, Jessica and Matt, you're very vigilant, and also DEP's 50 feet, so I'm asking that we move this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at all of the towns,
Move it as
violations
well.
of the 35-foot zone, even Lawrence going into
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I
If you
just,
want to.
I'm saying that
Well,
more
yes
for
and
the
no.
benefit of the homeowner, because they feel,
I
they
do.
often
Wanna-
feel they don't know what's happening and why things are happening. So say somebody does go into the 35-foot and they have a nasty neighbor and the neighbor calls Jessica, and Jessica goes out, and, I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, as a educational tool, you just put, just a reminder, no disturbance within 35 feet, as a regular.
Well, this could be
Order
on
condition.
plans, and Jessica and Matt aren't gonna let anybody, you're gonna let people know.
Well, no, Linda's right, you're not. What's this?
It's not,
I'm not
it's
gonna-
not a regulatory
right.
thing.
You're both right.
Yeah, I'm not saying this as a regulatory, we have to control what people do. I'm saying as an educational thing and to help them to understand. How many times have I sat here where homeowners come and say, the realtor bought, didn't say anything about this, and they're like, or the
Yeah.
building inspector gave a permit and he should have, whatever. And I'm just saying, as a conservation commission, it's really nice if we can help homeowners understand on a very basic level, like,
Well, I'm suggesting then, if we want to pursue this, that we make sure we know what time it is, because I know DEP says 50 feet. So how about we,
mention DEP.
mention DEP, our 35 feet, and then maybe you want to write something rough up and run it by Jessica, and then run it by us at some point down the road?
Is that,
Just-
see, if, I wish Mike was on.
Then it would have to be a bylaw change.
Well, no,
maybe,
if
no.
we put a
No, no.
reminder on the website, say,
Uh-huh.
reminder, if
Mhm.
you're planning a pool, we'll use a pool as an example, the
Mhm.
35-foot and then the
Yeah.
DEP
Mhm.
50-foot. Just as a reminder, I
As a
guess.
reminder. I'm just saying, like, in the orders of condition, or when,
There's, yes.
it's just a simple thing, so they get their orders of condition, they read, okay, I gotta put up hay bales or whatever. And, oh yeah, look, they're saying 35 feet is no disturb, or 50 feet is whatever. I just think it's a great opportunity to,
But there is a trend. I know I've seen Jessica's reports and it's pool.
pool, yeah, that's what I tell everybody, the only thing we do is swimming pools.
My wife told me she wanted a pool on Sunday, so.
well, if there's any consolation, I got a leak at mine.
Oh, no.
I move that we move this,
Ain't that
please.
good?
Agreed.
Second.
Let's move on.
Yeah, another question, let's go.
3.2 is Mass Wildlife request for continuance. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I
Is that the piece down back here? Down back by,
the Shirley line. Yeah, the one they want to clean up.
Not, but it's till to continue to
that salt
December.
piece blossom? Down sure
I
the
don't-
road off of the left-hand side, in the small Brook Road.
One. The septic that we, yeah, it's behind that septic system we just approved off of Shirley. Goes right into, goes from Townsend to Shirley.
Is it
State
continued
so.
to the route?
No. It's continued.
To December.
Any help, Jessica, would be great.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No,
I
no,
usually-
so.
This is
petition
a
for
thrilling
continuance.
conversation. No, they just, I did check, as my agent report said, I did check in, because originally they asked for their first hearing to be rescheduled from, I think, May to September 14th or 27th. So I did just check in with them, you know, a month prior or so, and they said that they are not ready to have a hearing yet next month. So they just are requesting your permission and
Earlier than
approval
December
to
2022.
reschedule.
What are they planning on doing, Jessica?
Yeah,
It's
you
a
might have to
big,
give,
it's a big
I don't even know
project.
if Linda was here.
Is that the old cable crossing down?
No, but I've heard about it.
It's for the state, right?
A lot of people have.
So they want to, yeah, I mean, again, our applicant's not here, so I don't want to discuss too much, but it's just, it's a series of ecological improvements per se that they want to make on about 200 acres at the Squanicook Wildlife Management Area.
And we can't discuss it too much because it has, it's a hearing, it's a big
Right.
hearing that
Okay.
could be in front of both,
Good.
not just
Thank
us.
you, thank
and
you,
Shirley.
Jessica.
Yeah,
Yes, you're welcome.
Thanks,
December.
Jessica.
If anyone is interested, there is a public link on our website with all their application materials. So they're all publicly available. It's a long application, so get ready, have some coffee. But anyway,
Is
no
this
real
something
worries
that has-
until December.
Is this something that has to get brought in front of us again? Not this project specifically, but a request for a continuance such as this? Is that something that we need to bring in front of us, or is that something admin could just, you know, you put it as part of your agent's report?
Yeah.
And then we're aware of it, and then we don't have to.
I mean, I think it could work either way. If you guys are okay with it just being done administratively, we can definitely do that.
Does anyone have any issues with that? Or
I don't.
input?
no,
I know.
It's fine.
I don't know if we need to,
It's a continuance. I think we should.
it's a request for continuance. We haven't even gotten to the opening the
Yeah,
hearing.
right,
so
right,
there's
right,
nothing
yeah,
formal right
Yep,
now.
yep,
we can't
yep.
discuss it.
You're right, James.
No, that's fine.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah,
So,
if they learn something that's of importance, I'm sure they'll bring it forward.
but the hearing is.
The hearing is,
It's
they
until
haven't
December.
even had the
I'm
hearing
saying
yet, so
Jessica or Matt, if there's anything.
Oh, yeah. If they
that's all.
know something that we need
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm sure they'll
I
inform.
think they
Yeah,
should do it.
I could just
individually
update from
and
my
have
agent
them-
report.
all right. So I think
Do it
moving
like that.
forward, use your due diligence, and if it's something questionable, you reach out to all of us and we can respond individually or to whoever's chair and, you know, I think you
Yeah,
guys know.
yeah, I think just depending on what the situation is, yeah. But yeah, something like this, I mean, I can just put in my agent report also. So,
Not trying to shorten the meetings if we don't, you know, I know we have to be here, but at the same time, I know you guys are at home.
that's fine.
We're all
My kids will
volunteers.
Yep.
Um,
I think just for tonight, since this is on our agenda, if you guys could please vote to approve their request for continuance, that'd be good.
There's no hearing
There's no
open.
hearing, so how do you continue?
Okay,
something
I don't know,
that
that's
was
just what we did last time. So just for consistency's sake, but
Is everyone fine with them pushing it off until December?
Yes,
Minimum?
Yes, yes.
yes.
Do you
There
want a
you go.
motion, Jessica? Do you want a motion?
Matt, that's up to you, man. I'm gonna let you make this call.
Matt, do you want us to do a motion?
I can put in the minutes like informal
You wanna
vote,
say
if
what-
everyone is okay with
Okay.
continuing, because you're right, the hearing hasn't been open, so you're not required to make a motion.
Right, it's not an official continuance.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
Mhm.
Noted. We'll say the commission agreed.
Yeah.
There you go.
3.3 mandatory referral notice from planning board regarding 227 Mason Road.
Yes, I should have brought this up earlier. 3.3, 3.4, I am requesting to move this to the next agenda, please, for 227 Mason Road, as we are doing some of our own due diligence first and have a lot of questions that need to get answered before I'm comfortable presenting it to you guys.
Okay. Is this something that could be a hearing that we shouldn't get a quick rundown on, or?
I don't even know.
Okay, sounds good.
There's just a lot of,
I'm not gonna, no, I'm not trying to rush this. I just don't want to get dragged into the weeds.
oh, no, well, no, the public hearing for the planning board is October 3rd, and the public hearing for ZBA is like September 20-something. So it's
21st.
21st, thank you. So it's after our next meeting. There, just upon my brief initial desktop review of this property, I have some concerns with the activity going on there currently. So I need to get my questions answered first, I think. 'Cause I may have to be reaching out to this resident on behalf of Conservation Commission with some of these concerns also.
All right, so you gotta do your work first.
Awesome.
Yes,
Thank you.
sorry, ending that one on a cliffhanger, but
It's a dog boarding facility. We're not worried.
oh, see, that's where you're wrong.
Exactly.
Well, I'm just going by what I see, so.
Well, yeah, see, anyway, okay. All right, so yes, I'm requesting to push this to the next agenda, please.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, mandatory referral notice from planning board regarding 256 Main Street.
This one, I'm cool with this one. Yeah, so this one, the planning board issued a decision and they need to revise one of their decisions. So we have just been given the opportunity to comment again, but our first referral was no comment. This property is right there downtown, so it is out of any jurisdictional areas for us.
I make a motion, we comment, no comment.
Do we have a
Second.
Pat, are you in favor?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
James Gates, yes.
Joan, yes?
Yes.
And yes.
Kevin, yes.
Okay, let's sign it in the folder.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, James.
3.6, TWB chapter 138-8 through 138-10. I know you're supposed to meet with Adam with the 138-8, correct? Or
Yeah,
did
so
you
Matt-
talk about that last time?
Matt met with Adam, our town council, a few weeks ago. So we did already discuss that like 3-ish meetings ago. But just to have this all, in our records chronologically, we'll do another brief rundown of it. But not in as much detail as we had previously.
Okay,
But I think
guess
it was
Matt-
on the 7/27 meeting minutes. So if anyone's tuning in and wants more detail on 138-8, you can view the July 27th meeting.
Matt, was there anything regarding 138-8 that we should be aware of or that might help us decide when to use it, not to use it? In regards to meeting with Adam?
Yeah, so I mentioned this when I talked about it on the 727 meeting. He said it's usually really large projects. So like, $2 million projects, so a huge subdivision or shopping mall, he typically sees it. Which obviously we don't get a lot of, but it's something to look to if we need it.
I lost track of time.
I know.
Okay, so Jessica, do you have anything to add to 138-8?
No, I don't. I think actually, well, yeah, I do. Never mind. But yeah, so in our meeting minutes, it did remind me that we had discussed if we have an applicant who may give us some troubles. That's a possibility here to do some sort of covenant or bond or something as well with that, just for a little bit more liability control, I guess.
Yeah, we discussed the bond.
Right.
Yeah. let's-
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
this section is about that the commission has the
Yeah.
authority to place a part of a project under our review into a bond to make sure that it is done to fruition and in accordance with the bylaws and its order of conditions.
Did the town council feel, Jessica, that, as you were saying, large projects, was it their opinion to set a dollar amount to the project? And don't fund it, anything above a certain amount be bonded with a performance bond or such?
It was a
I-
percent, I do remember this part. It was
Yeah.
percentage of the value.
Yeah,
Of the whole total project.
This may have been.
The
before you
applicant would
were
come with
hired.
supply cost estimate of the
Oh,
project.
you're in there?
I think it was this person.
I'm sorry, Matt?
The applicant would come with supply cost estimate of the project, and it would be like, 15-20% of that typically.
What was the number gonna be at the starting point for a bond issue? Was it gonna be any number, or is it gonna be,
You mean like-
if we win, we got a $50,000 project, we're gonna do, is the town gonna
No,
ask us to bond it, or $150,000
I think we
number?
said 2 million or something, or?
I don't remember putting a number, but I do
No,
remember.
He mentioned that as an example, but he didn't give a hard number. He didn't say
Okay.
500,000 or above or nothing like that. We have a lot of
No
wiggle room in how it's
starting
written, so
Okay,
I felt.
it's
it
pretty
should
much
be
up to
done
you guys.
by case.
excuse me?
I feel it should be done case by case.
absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, that's in my
Absolutely.
opinion.
Can't say that.
No,
No.
if someone that's been building in this town for years has never had an issue, has always followed the rules, why are we gonna make them bond?
No.
But if it's someone that we all hear stuff, and you hear stuff, most of the time it's true.
Right.
Or they don't have a consistent pattern of fulfilling their
Yeah.
A
OOC.
good track record.
Yeah, and always chasing or just, or we have agents in the past. We'll be keeping thought.
Just considering. I just see the trouble there and listening to hearsay. Or
Yes,
I think it
Yeah.
should be just across the board.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah,
be safer. and-
I do agree, I do agree, because I think the town is opening themselves up for something if you Gary and I come into a project, we're like,
You're getting
residents of
bonded.
town, well, whatever, I mean, we're.
so one of the
Yeah,
one of the examples I had was an easement for a fire.
Right.
That the owner of that land has really no skin in the game. They're gonna be stuck with, something tied to their property. That order of conditions is tied to the property. With an easement,
Mm-hmm.
You need to make sure they don't do anything.
to make
within
sure the
that fire,
contractor doesn't,
Right.
Screw up the fire pond.
screw it up, or just not finish it, or just finish the paperwork. Look at
Yeah,
that.
I
You
know.
look at, you dropped off a $1,500 check last summer,
Well,
to clean up something from 10 years ago. You
Yeah,
have to,
it's true.
it's just how it is.
So
So-
case by case, I guess, is what we.
It's more, in my opinion, it's more when there's an easement involved or large projects with stormwater,
Well, that's why. I
which
got-
stormwater isn't part of
I didn't
our
know if
jurisdiction.
If town council had, when Matt or Jessica had talked to them, whether how they, in some of the towns that they represent, how they handle it, do they have a dollar amount?
Right.
Or something which triggers the performance bond or bonding of the job?
And I'll retract what I said, 'cause I said stormwater, I meant what I meant, like, if there's a wetlands replication, a large one.
Mhm.
The value of a wetlands replication isn't much money, but if it's not done, it's not done. So, but I felt it was the easy sort of thing, and more to protect the landowner.
I agree.
Well, we can cross this bridge when we come to it, if needed.
Yeah.
Pat, do you have anything to add?
What's that, Jessica? I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
I said, you know, no pun intended, but we can cross this bridge if and when we come to it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because there's no hard dollar amount, because if you read security, they don't mention anything about that. It just says the Conservation Commission may. So it is up to the Conservation Commission when they want to place the bond.
And that's what caught my eye was if there's a project coming up that, you know, could get forgotten about, like a fire pond. Or, you know,
Yep.
something like that. So that's all I got. Jessica, do you have anything to add?
No, and
Well,
I mean, Colby brought up a good point too, and I mean, I brought it up myself first, sorry, but about, you know, if we have someone who might not have the best reputation in town for building projects, but of course, yeah, like Colby said, we don't want to go off hearsay, but we could go off of, you know, Matt and I are in excruciating detail going through old orders of conditions and permit applications right now to make sure everything's in compliance. So if we see a common theme that, you know, ABC contractors pulled 6 orders of conditions over the last 20 years, but never once got a erosion control inspection and never recorded their order conditions, you know, things like if there's consistent time after time non-compliances, that could definitely be a factor of consideration for if you guys wanted to have a bond pulled for the project.
Well, I
So
think the other way to deal with it is the fining aspect, which isn't huge. But if somebody is a consistent violator
Mhm.
and they're not cooperative, then you consider a violation and you could, you know. I mean,
Sure.
that's a good- You know, I think personally, I think that's a better way to go because it brings to their attention. I mean, it's usually not enough money to make them stop doing what they're doing. But I think it's a good thing to show that we can do that. Fine.
We've been
Yeah.
down that road with Jessica and Matt.
good feedback. Well, that brings us into a good segue for 138-9, violations and penalties enforcement. Oh, I guess, is it helpful if let me share my screen, I guess.
That would be good.
Great.
Uh,
Thank you.
Oh,
Just
no.
thinking that.
Oh, boy, hold on, I lost my Zoom. There we go. There we go. All right, here we are. Can you guys see this section? Perfect. Okay. So, yeah, so we just finished going over 138-8 bonds, 138-9 violations and penalties and enforcement. Assuming you guys all read this already, I will not reread it, but it basically says if there's someone violating a provision of this bylaw, they can be fined up to $300 per day that the violation is occurring. I can enforce that. A police officer and the building inspector, which I assume should mean the building commissioner.
He's also the zoning enforcement officer, so.
Yeah, but they're not in our bylaws, but they can enforce their own zoning bylaw as needed, of course. There's a lot of overlap in our bylaws at least, so that's good. You, as the Conservation Commission, also have the authority to give the offender a written notice to appear before the clerk of Air District Court. So, yes, so we do have options if there are some egregious violations. So again, I think the first route is to educate the person, because 9 times out of 10, they probably don't knowingly know that they're violating our bylaw. Of course, you have that one person in every bunch who does. But anyway, yes, so we have this option if there are violations happening.
So Jessica, the way we used to interpret this was that, so say somebody had 4 violations. I hope I'm remembering this correctly. So you could fine them 300 or for each of those violations, correct? Individually.
Correct,
And
yes.
And it could go beyond $300, like each violation would be 300.
Any
Per
person
day.
who violates any provision of this bylaw shall be punished by a fine of not more than $300 within this period.
It's per day.
But the
Because
next, but keep reading
Yeah.
the next
it
sentence.
says
Yeah, no, no.
each day or portion thereof of continuing violation is a separate offense, right?
Right.
So, I mean, probably what I would do, if it's something egregious, I would go out and, you know, but it obviously, like, the theme tonight, it's case by case. If it's something relatively minor without, you know, detrimental environmental effect, probably send a warning letter.
I would always just send a warning letter. I would
Yeah.
only do it if somebody was like and we don't have that anymore, I don't think, in town, do we? I mean, I haven't been around, so I don't
Well, so.
That we know of.
that we know of, so I think you just always
You also
give a written notice.
said, Jessica, educating people,
Yeah.
because 9 times out of 10 people might not realize what they're doing
Yeah.
is frowned upon.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, if someone on a commission does that, you know, I know MACC has a sort of a standard operating procedure and how to approach that, because you've got to be careful just walking on someone's property.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, if one of us goes and tries to educate someone, you can't go, in my opinion, you can't just say, what are you doing? You're gonna get fined. You have to
Oh, God. no.
present
Oh, God.
material saying, hey,
Yeah.
you're doing isn't right.
Call
Whatever.
Jessica.
Yeah.
Well, that's in my opinion, it's the follow-up
Yeah.
that we need to document if one of us goes to this property. Because Jessica's
On our
not gonna
own?
come in on a
No,
Sunday.
we're
or
not,
Saturday.
we're not going on.
I'm just saying, if someone's driving by, we see someone in a while.
Right.
Yeah.
It does happen. It
Yeah,
does.
It does.
You know that personally, and it was
That's true.
something that was avoided, or
Right.
could have been avoided.
Right, right.
But
Uh,
that was more like we did that maybe before we had staff.
Right,
Like if I was driving by and somebody was, you know, in an excavator in a wetland, I'd stop and say, you know, I'm putting a stop work order on you. As a
was that when you were the agent though?
No, I'm saying it's before the agent time. There
Right.
was Conservation Commission.
So I-
That was our
Okay.
duty, you know, but now that's not the case. So we don't have to do that.
And if that's the
Well,
case,
I
if
think-
someone's in a wetland, an excavator,
Right.
I'm not gonna go on someone's property. I'm like,
You talk to them from the road.
You'll be
Hello?
in that wetland next, James. So,
yeah, I know.
Call
Regardless, it needs to be documented on our behalf.
Yeah,
so
Then-
yeah, so that's also
Oh, wow.
where we can
You don't-
utilize one of the WPA forms.
no, I know.
We can utilize the enforcement order, which is a definitely well-documented cease and desist, essentially. So that's an option if there's a obvious excavator in a wetland situation.
Yeah, someone's cutting down trees, or I don't know. I'm not, my example sounded terrible. I'm sorry.
No, I think how we approach people is really important if you want people complying with wetlands and feeling good about the Conservation Commission. The Conservation Commission, it's had a bad rep in the last, whatever, 15 years, I don't know. But we do need to be friendly, which I'm sure Jessica is, and we just need to work with people and not come down heavy firsthand. I think it's really important, especially for residents of town.
I also think people, the community at large are aware now that enforcement is happening. We have a fully staffed office and
Yeah.
people are following the rules and
Yeah.
enforcing.
Right.
Which
And
helps.
do you have anything to add?
No, I agree with what's being stated,
Yeah, I'm just
definitely.
not trying to go too far down a rabbit hole, but
No,
I guess this is part of doing all this is to discuss it
right.
and have a open forum amongst us, but
So, yeah, so I don't have,
well, we said that, no.
I know, you got that look like
That's
somebody pausing.
Well,
And
listen,
not to
but we-
open up any can of worms.
No, but open it up too,
All right.
man.
I don't think
Rest of
that,
us can, you can.
my question is, does this put the responsibility, oh no, it says Conservation Commission members to point out violations to people, and is this the authority that we refer to do so by?
Mhm.
I'm not saying,
That's a
that-
very good question.
I'm not saying, I don't see anything here about like entering property. But do we even have the,
No,
You
there are-
can't,
there
and
are
not without
very-
do
permission,
we
certainly.
even have the authority to point out violations?
To people, you do.
Yes,
You do
Okay,
have that
so
authority.
we're
as a
standing at the
conservation
street
commission.
sign,
Yes,
the side of the road.
And you're hoping somebody's gonna get off the machine or the homeowner's gonna come over and see it.
Right.
And then,
not
you
gonna
you know,
lie.
you're gonna,
now, that has
Yeah.
to do if they don't have an order of conditions with us. If they have an order of conditions with us and you drive by and the hay bales aren't up and they're got their excavator in a pond and they're digging, you can go on the property
Yes.
and say to them, can't do, stop work order, not happening anymore.
Okay,
That's when you can, because
at
the
any
order's a
point in
condition.
time, without,
yeah, but if they haven't been, I think what you're trying to say, Colby, if they've been before us and we've issued them an order of conditions,
Mhm.
and they were clearly in violation of an order of conditions of their order when you drive by. Okay, you
That's
drive,
right.
we
you
have to
happen to
see it
be,
from the road.
you just happen to be driving
Right.
down the road.
Right.
And, you know, and you,
Right,
and you look in there, you see a machine working, and you say, geez, we issued an order of conditions on that lot 3 weeks ago on that job.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden you look in there and they're bailing something up, then you look, there's no silt fence, no
right,
DEP sign, no,
yeah,
nothing. Then I think, you know, at that point, you could, if, you know, you can do one of two things. You call Jessica and say, hey, these guys are working up there. If it's during business hours and you're in a hurry to get somewhere,
Mhm.
you can call
Yeah.
her and,
exactly.
you call somebody else. You know, let her deal with it. If she can't deal with it, you really feel that you need to stop, you actually do have the right at that point to step onto their property,
Is that
try to
your-
stop
was
the
that your
operator or
question?
catch the landowner.
We don't carry any kind of identification or.
No,
No,
That's, and
No.
that's where.
we used to
I'm
have
getting to it.
cards.
Well, the
Oh,
only
really?
thing you could do is pull up the town website, there's your name, show them your license if somebody really
Yes,
questions.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't, it's just out of the blue, they don't have an order of conditions, they haven't come before us, and you drive by and you see somebody and you're compelled to tell them to stop, you can do that, but you really shouldn't go on their property. You can go on their driveway, but you can't go beyond that. You
And as
really-
you know, raising kids, you wanna, kind of
But I think it might be
Well,
easier
do
to
it.
call Jessica. I don't know
Educate 'em.
if she's
it's
available.
pretty scary to go on somebody else's property.
Yeah.
these
you're
days.
gonna-
Yeah.
Because,
Right.
you know, especially, for
Yeah.
example, they got little kids, the kids are up playing in the yard, all of a sudden you're a stranger
Right.
on their property.
Yeah,
How do they know that, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, is this guy thinking about abducting one of my kids? Goes
especially
out
if it's
the-
a man.
goes
But
out
that's
the
a
door,
very- that's a
goes out the
very
door with a
good
12 gauge,
Very
you know, and introduces himself to you that way.
I mean, that's true. However, as a conservation commissioner, you have the authority to do that.
And there's mass general laws that give people in the business of agriculture the authority to enter property, but it can be disputed by towns, police chiefs and.
Yeah,
You don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Well, and my tip of often this, any work that shouldn't be happening is Sunday afternoon, Saturday morning, day after Christmas, stuff like that. So that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Mhm. Yeah, in our, just to go back to the order of conditions thing, it's either in the WPA order of conditions or in our attachment A, I can't remember right now, but there is a condition in there that says conservation staff or personnel, I can't remember the exact wording, but does have the authority to enter the premises during normal business hours. So, at minimum, that means me or Matt. I can't think of the wording right off the top of my head right now, but again, yeah, you guys are welcome to call us or text us or something.
In the bylaw, it also states it, and if any of us are really need to make or not make a point, but each put a stop to something, and when we don't feel safe, bylaw says we can have a police officer.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I don't think we need to go much further than that.
yeah.
That's helpful.
I think all of us have very valid points though.
Mhm.
Like,
I've had to do that when I was just a conservation commissioner, back in the beginning.
No,
Because the
Right.
person was really, you know,
And you just
Angry
don't know
crazy.
nowadays. I mean,
yep,
people can get angry really fast and you never know if they've got a gun
things
or
can-
anything.
Things
Even
can
if you're
skyrocket
nice.
right up, spiral right out of control
It's true.
real quick.
Yeah.
even if you're as nice as you can be, people will take it and. go
yeah,
crazy.
you don't know what kind of day they're having.
Right.
Um,
No,
Well, usually the more egregious, whatever they're doing, that matter they are.
Yes and no. Yeah, well, it's just,
Yeah,
you're putting yourself in a literal line of fire.
you
I'm just
are.
gonna call you.
I'll call
Yeah,
the station. So
yeah. Just bringing back
we'll send Kevin down.
memories.
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm a
generally
good- I'm
always
good
take a buddy with
person,
me.
but I tend to
so.
shoot back.
Yeah, you have your point where you're not taking it anymore.
Well, That's a smart thing to do.
Anybody
You
knows
always
me,
have something.
knows me for a long time, knows that I'm a great guy. There's a lot.
All
Um,
right,
so Jessica, what else did you see? Do you want to add? Keep going to,
Yeah, no, I think this one is fine. I don't have any edits or anything to it. I don't know if you guys wanted to add some clarifications. Maybe it'd be smart to add in some sort of access permission sentence somewhere, but,
I do have a question. When would the $300 a day for the violation start? Would it be when they're notified or when?
yeah, I think like what I have done a couple times is send a first notice of violation with more with the educational provisions in it, saying, you know, activity must stop, or, you know, you must remove all the piled up brush that you dumped in the wetland within 30 days of the date of this letter. If not, you may be subject to fines or other enforcement action. So they get the warning, and we try to send these first notices via certified mail so that we do have record that it was delivered to the resident.
but after 30 days. So when does the violation, are you starting the violation? If they, I mean, if they haven't complied within 30 days, do you go back to the beginning of the first notice?
I don't know.
That's what I.
Never had
understood.
this situation before, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Jessica, when you serve somebody and send somebody a
Thank
a
God.
certified letter to, you know, remove those tree limbs and brush from the wetlands.
Sure.
And you've given them an ample amount of time to do it. You've never, since your tenure here, you've never, have you had to do that?
No, I have not generated a fine for anyone.
Okay, but have you had to send somebody a certified letter to stop, say, putting brush in a swamp or
Yes.
something?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, have they complied within the?
I think so. I haven't driven by the one resident that I'm thinking of in a while, but I believe they did stop.
Most likely, when somebody
the
gets a
case.
certified letter from a conservation commission or any town entity, and they've been given ample time to remediate the problem, I think most people would,
that had,
would
that
do
had
that.
half a brain.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
I think people would do their due diligence because when they look at the letter and if you don't commence and complete this, getting the brush out of the swamp in 30 days, you know, you're subject to a $300 a day fine. I think people look at that and say, Jesus, we better get that brush out of there and burn it. So, or they can constitute a $300 a day fine on us. And if we don't pay it, they can put a tag line of lien on our property. There's probably a lot of different things that they could
Right.
do.
Mhm.
so I think if this is in question, maybe this question should be forwarded to Adam to see what his insight is, but also maybe refer to MACC's website to, because they have that listing of other towns' bylaws and see what what other communities are doing, in terms of that. In terms of this whole violations and penalties and enforcement section.
Okay. I am meeting with Adam next Tuesday to just kind of give him our initial comments on the bylaws, since we are now almost completely through them. So I can ask him about that then.
And Jessica, I don't know if this makes any sense, but a careful reading does show that that's $300 per day, but it wouldn't hurt my feelings to see those words, not more than $300 per day, period. And then I know it's a little repetitive, but then each day or portion thereof, sentence 1 and 2. I don't know if per day is something that could be added.
Yeah,
That would
it's
really make it
hard
clear.
to read. And I don't know if it's just like we should put a colon instead after 300, like, I don't know.
The point of
But
going
yeah,
over this.
it is a little choppy to read. I agree.
Yeah,
Yep,
I mean, it does hold water, but it's not easy to figure that out.
Yeah.
So
All
are
right.
you guys reading it that there's a maximum of $300 you can find someone a day?
That was my initial, when I first read it, that was my initial reaction, yeah. And then you
But
go,
it's not, if
Right,
somebody's got 3
right.
violations, they could be paying $900 a day.
That's
right, but no, it was $300 for the whole shebang, not per day. You only figure out the per day part when you go down to the second sentence,
Right.
right?
The period screws me up.
yeah.
So,
How do you simplify it so somebody can understand?
Well, it's like Jessica said, a colon or a
Which is
semicolon
the
or
whole
something.
point of going
Right,
through all these
Right.
bylaws.
right.
no, I just.
We
I
just per
wanted
day
to
after
make
the
sure
300.
because
So,
back-
Makes sense to me.
oops,
we were-
sorry.
Sorry, Matt.
Oh, I just think per day after the 300 would make sense to me. Of not more than 300 per day, period, and then each day or portion thereof of continued violation shall constitute a separate offense.
Works for me.
Something like that.
Well,
I don't know.
per violation.
Per violation. Though.
Right.
It should.
Right.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you,
Well taken.
thank you, very good.
Okay.
Then there, you had a little grammatical correction down at the bottom, under validity.
Yeah, valid. Yeah, just, I mean, it's not
That's
like
it.
significant enough that we need to
The
change it.
spelling.
But
That was
I-
just spelling error.
I just thought it should be capital O and C for order of conditions because it's a
Yeah.
formal document, but potato, potato. But yeah, no, otherwise these last few sections, I don't really have any edits. They're not, I don't, apply them in my daily work or duties, obviously, as much as the rest of the bylaw. So I didn't really have any changes to suggest.
Okay.
I will, going through just the general bylaws, I did have a couple additions that might be worth considering. On our conservation web page, it says that the Conservation Commission regulates, wetland areas, ACECs, blah, 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 but we don't have any mention of the ACEC in our bylaws or our regulations. They're only mentioned once in the zoning bylaw. So that maybe just for the future, something that we might want to consider putting in here to regulate.
Jessica, I don't know if everybody knows, but you don't just get called an ACEC. The town applies to the state. There are only 7 ACEC towns in the state, and they went out of their way to have the state recognize them as such. So I do think it's worth acknowledging.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a deal. It's a
What do
big
we,
deal.
sorry, I'm gonna make you dizzy for a minute. What is our webpage says, the Conservation Commission is responsible for the WPA, the bylaws. Oh, maybe it doesn't say that. Sorry, I was wrong. Townsend is home to the ACEC. So, I mean, we mentioned in our website, we charge fees for it, a surcharge on our fees when someone's property is within the ACEC.
And
But that's
doing
kind
work in the ACC is minimal.
where it ends. So
Yeah.
maybe someday, I don't think we're at the level yet where we should add it in now, but just food for thought someday.
Yeah, I think it would cause more, kerfuffle in the town if we tried to put that in there.
I mean, it is
Everybody
in
get up
the
front.
zoning, so that's why I had a comment, at least to
going down my
somewhere on
path.
our webpage, put a link to the zoning bylaw where it is mentioned. Just so that people are considerate of that.
And or a link to the Massachusetts ACEC page, because if the
Yeah.
ACEC really is a thing, then it's the state,
When
The
you send
state
it to the
comes
state,
right on
though,
in
it's so
on that, right.
complicated, at
Yeah.
least
right?
you're looking at it on local level, it's
Yeah.
basically a little easier for somebody to understand.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
all right. Other potential additions someday.
Well,
Maybe
I think your note, for number 5, note about reviewing chapter 150. That's part, just as a header. I think that's a very valid thing,
Okay,
that we should consider. It's just a simple, arrow, just for someone to, hey, you gotta read this also.
yeah, and I think, if we applied number 5 somewhere in our document, that answers my
3 and 4.
request for number 2 and number 3. So, yeah, I think that would be good. Yeah, because right now you don't really know that they're tied to each other. I think once you go into chapter 150, it references chapter 138 quite a bit, but I don't think it's a two-way street. So, putting something in there, or at least, putting it on our website. And then I think I'm going to skip number 4 right now. So I think my request is that we have now completed the bylaw. Congratulations. The bylaw crash course for chapter 138. So the next meeting we'll start going through a couple sections of our regulations, which is chapter 150. And then maybe once we're through everything, we can come back and see where there might be some gaps missing between the two, so that we can help clarify some things for our residents.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Jessica.
Great
Thanks.
job.
Yeah,
Question.
it really
Thank you,
is.
Jessica and
And
Matt.
Matt.
Great job.
Yep.
All right.
You guys good?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
3.7, vote for Conservation Commission officers. We're all here. Let's just get it over with.
I'd like to nominate James Gates as chair.
I'll second that.
Well,
Discussion.
true.
Discussion.
I would like to
No
discuss.
discussion.
I have some
Go on,
discussion. I would like to say that, James, I really appreciate your, the way you're conducting the meetings and asking everyone if they have something to add and your thoughtfulness, and I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
So thank you.
And he keeps us on task. I really like
Yeah.
that.
Trying. Good job.
Great job, James.
Yep.
Well,
We don't see I see no need to change a thing.
Me neither.
Can we vote like that?
Yeah.
Can we vote just to keep the current slate?
As long as, everybody wants to be in it.
Mike's not here, so we can't. I don't. I personally, well, you already have a motion on the floor, so. we're just
Okay,
go-
Oh, you're
I
go,
seconded
Right.
all those. in favor.
all of, Pat,
Pat, yes.
Colby, yes.
James, yes.
Joan, yes?
Linda, yes.
And yes,
Kevin, yes.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Kevin Smith as the vice chairman of the Conservation Commission.
No, Kevin doesn't want it.
I don't want it. Not yet. I'm too new to the board. I'm just getting my feet wet. Colby, you've been in here before me.
I'd like to nominate
Colby.
Colby Streeter as vice chair.
Second,
I do too.
And I appreciate it and I normally would.
So you don't want to do it?
It's not that I don't want to do it. It's, several of the meetings coming up, I'm gonna be missing due to a class. I'm going back to grad school.
Well, those
So,
things are
and it's gonna be
permissible.
Wednesday,
Colby.
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
Those things are permissible, Colby, at Colby.
It's gonna be several.
Yeah, well, those, it's all permissible.
Is it?
Better your education, yes, of course.
And it's really only a matter of someone that, you know, the meeting, if I'm not here or, you know,
And to that point,
There are plenty of people here that can.
Run a meeting.
okay,
great.
we'll let Linda, she's had years of experience at it.
Right.
and then
She'll have to dig it up from her years past.
I think I was a hard ass when I was the chair.
Yes, you were.
That's what
Keeping
we
things
heard.
on task,
So. we
but I
had-
wasn't as good as James. That's all.
I know, I'm not.
Really good.
And I've spent so many years sitting on this side of the table, I really, that's why I can't get around there.
let's get me
I
going.
haven't sit out here.
It'll take time, but you'll get
Might take me 10 years to sit right here.
So we do have a motion.
And it's been seconded.
If you're,
You
If
can
you're-
say
if you know
no.
that-
You want to say no, you can say no. We don't
if you realize that I will not be here for several meetings, then I would gladly do it.
And if you just tell us ahead of time, I don't see a problem with it. And
We can always vote anytime if it becomes something, a thing,
yeah,
you know,
just
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
resign
So,
as vice
yeah.
chair and you're not going
Yeah,
anywhere.
right.
Colby hasn't been here. We should.
And we know where you live.
I have something.
Congratulations, going back
Yeah.
to school though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
Cool, yes.
You can vote no too, but you're gonna still lose, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
James Gates, yes.
Joan, yes.
Yes.
And yes,
Kevin, yes.
Thanks. Well, actually on that, seeing as for most of the fall, I won't be here for the class.
Winter's
Can I be
coming,
made like a
buddy. Winter's coming.
non-voting member or does that not
No.
matter?
I think, I have to look at the way the
Charter
law,
is.
wait, yeah, the town charter is. I think if you look at the town charter, I can look at it. You could also talk to Mike Crowley.
Yeah.
Mike, I actually defer this to Mike Crowley, he'll coach you through it.
I'm not talking to Mike, because I read these things 3-4 times. And I quite often don't understand. it. So
No, you're not alone.
no,
I'll talk to
Well,
Mike.
I
it's
don't
lawyer talk. It's just.
No, you're not alone.
And I would. Yeah,
Yeah.
if I have a question that I need help with, I call him. You know, but if you know what those states are, you can also zoom in, even if you just listen,
I'll do my best.
but you know, you'll always have access to the meetings. or-
But I think you will be a voting member, and it just means that the quorum, we just have to have everybody here. It doesn't, it really doesn't matter that much. We just all have.
Well, not everybody, but.
I mean, we have to have a quorum.
We have to have a quorum.
What do we need to have a quorum on this board? 5? 5 to have a
Board of
quorum.
7.
How much?
A board of 7, you only need 4 for a quorum.
So.
You need to have at least 4 if your board is 6 or 7.
yeah.
Yeah, so we'd be all
We'll be
right
all
most of the
You don't
time.
have to be a non-voting.
I just don't want to be.
Yeah,
competitive.
yeah.
So things.
And you won't be able to, it won't be, you know, okay.
We're not gonna let you go that easy.
Is there any other officer that needs to
Right.
be voted?
Yes, secretary.
Oh,
Clerk.
Clerk.
Thank
that
you
what
for
it
that,
is?
Colby, but
I have a
Uh,
question
that's not
about
my-
work.
that's
Yes.
not my kid right
Not
now.
years back, the clerk's job was to do all the notices that would appear in the paper, then do the notifications about,
The-
about,
Yeah, but that was,
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
that was 25 years ago.
No, no,
Before
no.
we had staff, right?
No, well, no,
No.
Joan still does it if she's here. Last
I
time
just
think
didn't
had
know,
it.
I didn't know.
Last time I had to do it because you weren't here,
No,
Wait a minute, what do you do?
Mike, I was,
but keep going.
Mike-
And-
Mike,
I'm confused.
and Matt and Jessica are doing all the legal
Yeah,
notices,
yeah.
notifying people to pay the legal
Yeah.
notices, mailing out the cards and such. I, as the clerk, is only matching the
Matching, okay.
cards
Yes.
That's all.
to the
I think we
abutters
could do
list
that.
while we have a hearing.
That's all you
Yeah,
have to do.
and reading the legal notice.
But I think
Right.
we
Yeah,
have
That's
to
it.
do that in public,
Yeah, you do it at the beginning of the hearing.
Yeah.
Well,
but-
at one time, we had even stopped reading the public notices, but now,
Oh, you have to.
Well, hold on,
because, yeah, I don't know why it was stopped, but it was stopped reading the public
Recently.
notice. Well, about 6 years ago.
Oh, okay. Because Joan tonight printed the public notice, but it's not in there as a hearing.
Right. Oh,
It's only
I
a
was just
hearing, Yeah,
curious as to, only because of what I came,
so that's when you first started. Okay.
And the
So
clerk
that
was also
wrong.
doing meeting minutes too.
well, I don't know if
Up
it
until
Yeah, well,
last
that's
year.
until we had any,
So we had,
Yes.
we decided to split it.
Yes. Yeah, you have to read the notice of a hearing. Yeah, right.
right.
People moving.
Okay, I just had a question. That's all. Hold on, that's a good one.
There's, yeah, so we need a motion, a nomination, a second.
I'll make a motion to have our dear clerk name the clerk.
And who might that be?
wow.
Oh,
Well,
Sharon.
no, just say.
Oh, yeah,
just
you
say-
always say it
just
out
say it,
loud.
you just
Say
say it,
it, you have to say the
I'm
name.
almost- Okay.
I don't need, I don't,
Savoy.
Joe
Oh,
Savoy. I have to
I'll
say
make
the
a
whole name?
motion.
Yes.
We already got the motion made.
Second.
motion made,
Thank you.
Colby said.
Second.
Second.
Joan, someone seconded it. Pat,
Colby, yes.
James, yes.
Joan, yes.
Linda, yes.
And yes.
Kevin, yes.
I'm not being formal.
Feel better now?
I'm fine. I'm
Good.
trying to migrate, so I'm trying to just keep going.
Yes, keep
Is
going.
there anyone left or do we have to nominate someone else?
Well, we have the paper hanger we have to appoint.
Oh, yeah, that's right, too.
I
Do you have
can,
to put-
describe 3.8.
Vote
If you
on
want to
whether
read it.
to give commission admin
Yeah.
authority to sign warrants.
Yeah. Because I am currently the person who officially was given permission to sign the warrants. We want to switch that over to Matt. Because I was doing it because there was no one else.
So we need.
So I was
a vote
doing
to
all that
change.
paperwork.
Does it have to be Matt or could it be Matt or Jessica?
Matt or Jessica, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
One or the other.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay,
Either
so
or, yeah.
Makes sense.
discussion about this, or actually, Joan, give us a quick summary of what it entails and why, we know why you were
Well,
asked to do
so
it,
for,
because there wasn't anyone. but-
right, but for example, so let's say, Pat, you take a MACC class, the invoice comes in. It has to, the warrant has to be completed, which is the listing of all of the invoices and bills and such. And it has to be brought down to the accountant. Well, we voted to approve it, and then it goes down to the accountant, and then it's paid. So instead of, I'm the one that's supposed to be signing the warrants now, we can just officially make Jessica and Matt
Which is,
the warrant, the
is
signers. of
town,
the paperwork.
which
Right,
is our
right,
job.
right, but we didn't have them, so, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
Any other discussion on this?
Nope.
Need a motion, a second, please.
oh, motion. Make a motion to give the conservation administrator or agent authority to sign the warrants.
And second,
Pat,
yes.
Colby, yes.
James, yes.
Joan, yes?
Linda, yes.
And yes,
Kevin, yes.
Great. Correspondence supposed to be taken, 61 Edwards Road update from Mike Crowley. I don't see Mike. Jessica, Matt, he tied up this evening. We
We
just,
wrote that letter,
yeah, there was a
wrote that
letter.
letter.
says update, so
I read the letter.
it's a letter.
Yeah, I can
Would you like to read it?
share my screen with the letter, or
Joan's
Maybe
gonna,
we've all read it, maybe just share your screen and we'll, right? Is that fair?
Yep. that's
Instead of reading it,
Well, if everybody hasn't read it.
has everybody read it? No?
I-
Okay,
do you
I'll
mind
read
reading
it.
it?
No, I don't
Public
mind
record.
reading it. Yeah, thank you. This is, to the Conservation Commission, assigned Mike Crowley, Land Use Coordinator. I wanted to provide, and it's dated 8/15/2022. I wanted to provide an update on the efforts of 61 Edwards regarding removal of debris and trash from the area around the wetlands. Mr. Morse and I have been able to meet several times to discuss the issue, and he continues to be very amenable to working to address the problem, including openness to allow volunteer and outside assistance coming on the property to assist with the removal. To date, I have worked with him to clear several smaller items of trash, as well as removal of 2 lawnmowers from the buffer around the wetlands. However, we have not yet removed the larger debris and trash, including the tent canopy frames that are the largest, most visible items of debris on the property. At this time, the extensive vegetation around the property makes it a challenge to do a proper removal effort, and I would like to plan these removals in the late fall after the vegetation has died back. Additionally, I have some concerns about removal of trash and vegetation in the current drought conditions. Removal of the tents would require removal of vegetation, which could cause erosion of the slope into the wetlands area. Currently, the Conservation Commission voted to suspend enforcement until September to allow me to work with the property owner. Given the concerns about vegetation and disturbance, I would like the Conservation Commission to extend their timeline until November 30th to allow for removal of debris after the vegetation has died back and conditions have improved. Thank you for your consideration, Mike Crowell.
Thank you, Mike. You
So
don't have any
I
comments?
would like to make a motion that we extend the situation until November 30th, as Mike has requested.
I do have a question though. What happens if we get a lot of snow by that time? Then what
That's a
happens?
good point.
Well, hopefully he'll have it completed before
Hopefully
then.
he's given it up until, so hopefully they'll be in there maybe even in October and do it when the vegetation dies back. Once we've had a frost or two, they'll be able to go right in and take care of the issue. I think that it's fair to give them a timeline to extend it until November 30th, which is Thanksgiving, basically. We have a lot more bare ground Thanksgivings than we do white Thanksgivings in Townsend,
Mhm.
and hopefully they'll be in there
That's
before
right.
that.
There are those occasional white ones.
There are.
Well, it is.
And I think Mike will be on this. It sounds like he has been. and
Think
so
he's
he'll be on
working
top
to-
of it. Yeah.
He's working with the gentleman to try to remediate the problem, and I'm sure he'll try to get it done.
Exactly.
Right, he's
Well,
amenable, and the owner is amenable, so I don't
Yeah.
think there's a problem.
We're all working together.
So you made a motion?
I mean.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Pat,
Totally, yes.
James, yes.
Joan, yes?
Linda, yes.
And yes,
Kevin, yes.
Voted to extend this timeline. So the 4.2 water withdrawal email from Maya McDonald of DEP. I'm reading this one. Hello, Concom and staff. DEP has received a few calls and emails lately about water withdrawals in relation to the Mass Wetland Protection Act, especially during this drought, as long as they aren't altering the resource area, disturbing the bottom of a water body, waterway, noticeably lowering the water level, disturbing the bank, etc. Water withdrawal is allowed without review permit. Very large withdrawals over 100,000 gallons per day or 9 million gallon in a 3-month period requires a permit under the Water Management Act. There is a concern about any alteration. We recommend you request a site visit to observe the withdrawal and adjacent resource areas to inspect for alteration. Please call or email with any questions or concerns about a specific site anytime. Thank you, Maya. Circuit Rider, Mass DEP Wetlands.
So do swimming pools, when they get filled, because I have no idea how this happens. All right, I know there are trucks that come in and fill them, but I've also seen trucks that go in and fill them, get from the river.
they used to
right?
get them from Whalen.
Yeah,
They
used to-
used to, but they can't do that anymore.
but is that what she's talking about with the permit? They
So-
get permits to do
You
it?
know, was there somebody in Townsend that?
It doesn't
That's- yeah.
give us an example.
Jessica,
I'm gonna,
can you give us a little light there?
That was just a general email. So Mia is the circuit rider
for
for all
some
of
of this hydro seeding,
So it's
Flowing
probably
water.
gone out to every town in the state.
Yes, yeah, it did. Yeah, it wasn't just to us.
I think
Right?
Or Central
Thank you.
Mass.
water's coming from a municipality where they're purchasing it
Yeah,
Yeah.
at
and they're
a much
Very
higher rate.
higher
Right,
Yeah.
right. Right.
They're not
never knew,
sucking
like,
I
from,
think you're referring to an occasional tank truck that pulls up to a brook and gets 500 gallons to hydro seed a lawn or something.
yeah, 4,000
Those
gallons
well
of that.
companies, those pool companies, they're not taking frog water pond out of a brook.
That's what I
They're-
had
they're
seen
buying
one. I
treated-
thought.
Yeah, they're buying treated
And I thought,
water.
why would anybody
Yeah.
take water out of a stream? I mean, you're gonna get awful water coming out of it. So,
But also right now, you have a lot of the wildland, tankers and firefighters drawing.
Yeah, they're.
From-
Oh, yeah.
They're drawing from a
Firefighters
lot of
draw
places right now.
Yes, yes.
So, but again, 100,000 gallons a day, I couldn't picture that.
yeah,
It's,
that's a lot.
yeah. So,
I just have
Okay.
a question on water. This is pertinent to water. According to, the weather forecasters, we have moved to a stage 4 drought, severe. We were in extreme, and now we've gone to a
When did
severe.
it go to a stage
I
4?
thought we were in a 3.
We're in a
No.
three.
Just recently, when
you
it
just might not have noticed yet.
Oh, the town
Yeah.
sign, just I saw driving tonight, still says 3.
yeah,
Oh, 4.
I didn't know if anybody else had
Wow.
heard that as well.
Wow.
Oh,
Stage
good.
4 is pretty critical.
Yeah, that's correct,
Very
especially in
critical.
our town.
Jessica, you're off mute. You're
that's-
Googling it, I can tell.
Yeah, how do you know? Gosh. Yeah, no, it's,
I saw it on NBC channel.
I
10.
Yeah.
didn't have it.
we usually get
Their
emails.
their website still says level 3, it looks like.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, it's still a level 3 as far as I know.
yeah, as of
Well,
August
they-
9th.
they upped it
Yeah,
to
the Mass
level-
CAP hasn't
Massachusetts.
updated.
Yes,
Well, it goes per town.
it goes per town.
I don't know, so short, we had 7 inches of rain yesterday, so.
And I
Did
did that
they?
map. I remember looking at a map.
Well, we're
Maybe Townsend isn't in it yet. It might be the Townsend. isn't in it.
in
Well,
what,
again,
four
we've had a
yet?
lot of,
Yeah, we're in the 3, the sign.
you know, firefighter efforts, now they're up in Ashby.
Oh,
Huge,
God.
huge one in Ashby.
Oh, no.
And there was one in Brookline, was it?
That was one of Brookline Mason just the other day.
Brooklyn, yep,
One
right on
in town.
right on 13.
Yeah.
We were just out on Lunenburg Road this morning and we got out and it smelled very strongly of smoke. And I think it was
Well,
the
that
ash.
could have been blowing down from Ashby.
Yeah,
Jessica.
that was coming from
I think
Lodge.
they
That's a
was,
big multi-
Yeah, what? Yeah.
They've got
We
19
knew that,
towns
but-
up there. Somebody told me
Crazy.
responding to that fire.
Whoa.
Or 350 excavators up there pulling it apart, so,
Yeah,
I know what started.
no.
They never know what starts it, really.
you know,
So,
when
and then,
it's dry,
Right.
Pat, it could be simply a piece of glass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it could have been someone dumping that tossed a cigarette butt
Yeah.
out
Yeah,
a
it could
month
have
ago.
been,
Yeah.
just gas in a mulch
Smolder.
pile.
you know,
Because that stuff will smolder and smolder without oxygen, someone will turn it over and it will
yep.
layer it up,
Could-
and that
and I
can smolder
think
for months. and you
One
never
down
know.
at back mulch,
Cigarette?
I think they have back mulch up there too,
Yeah.
which, for wood chips, they'll create some heat. It creates some major heat. Sometimes you could just drive by the side of them with a front end loader and just open up the corner, and if it's a hot spot, then oxygen gets to it, poof,
Yeah.
gets it
I
going.
had to do
Oh
it
my
up
God.
with a hay trailer last winter.
Oh, yeah.
So someone tossed a cigarette butt out on the highway, they opened the door when they arrived here and,
Oh,
you know, so it smolders, it happens, but you know, the North, what was it, Lynn? That was a big one, they had helicopters in, so there's,
we're like California now.
As much rain, we had some nice rain in the last 24, 36 hours, but
And, it doesn't
it's,
even,
doesn't even
Doesn't
cut
even
them
touch it.
around.
doesn't even dent. right?
And I say it hit some towns but not other towns.
yeah, it
so-
was, what, 7
Yeah.
inches on the South Shore, what,
Yeah,
last night,
That's a
so,
lot of rain.
so we need a motion to, or our next,
Oh, next meeting.
Next meeting, what's on the agenda?
Oh, you have to go to section 5 first.
the upcoming MACC classes, there's the big push for them. So I need to go through every single one.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of MACC classes coming up. If anyone needs help signing up for them, setting up accounts, please reach out to Matt and he will work with you to set you up and, make sure you're taken care of. Most of them are Zoom. There were some in-person ones too.
Yeah.
They were expensive, so.
I will say before you guys register, particularly for the Wednesday classes, if it falls under meeting Wednesday, just check with us before you sign up so that in case 3 or 4 of you sign up for the same class, we still have a quorum to hold our meetings, so we don't have any conflicts that way.
And if it's something where the meeting can get pushed off to the, or
that,
I can get pushed, because we don't have enough people. I'm not afraid to,
Mhm.
you know, to go for it. So. 6.0 items for discussion at the next meeting. Actually, one thing I could add to the chair's report quickly and add to not necessarily next meeting, but an upcoming meeting. I had a conversation with Jim Smith today about something, and I brought up salt reduction in the winter,
Nice.
management, and he's willing to
Work on that.
work with
Go back to 50/50 or something like that.
no sand.
No sense.
Sand fills the waterways, it clogs it up, but it's a matter of managing it. It's using mechanical snow removal versus strict, relying solely on salt and liquids and, it's just about managing it. You know how it goes. Sometimes it's easier just to scrape it than keep treating it.
I don't know about snow removal.
But when an ice storm is coming, right, that's different, right? You really need to,
So you have to be safe too.
right,
And New Hampshire has a lot of legislation regarding this, where you have the Green Snow Pro Act, where the goal is to reduce salt and not salt, but fluoride consumption, because that's what poisons the waterways. Sand poisons it because it clogs it because of the silt. So salt is safer. But using other sorts of chlorides, calcium chlorides, treat the salt, pre-treat the salt before it comes out, because that's activated. So you're using less salt. It also has a residual effects on magnesium chloride, calcium chloride. And you can't use magnesium chloride when it's above 25 to 30 degrees because it creates an oil slick. But there's a residual for the prevent bonding. But again, you get freezing rain for 12 hours.
Right.
That's all up to God.
I know.
So
Stay
that's all, yeah, it's out the window.
So,
I know, that's the part where you can't do
Or it drops down, and then the temperature drops down to 10
it.
Right.
3 days.
in about 2 hours.
and you're trying to just treat it all with salt when you should be using a calcium
Yeah.
chloride pre-treatment, or just liquids. A lot of towns, especially, Minnesota, New Hampshire, they're using liquids. I have an extensive history with liquids. I created the program at the previous company I
Oh,
was
yeah?
at. And it works, but it's getting buy-in from the
What
guys
kind of
that
liquids are you talking about?
are, salt brine
Oh,
with
okay.
magnesium chloride
Wow.
blend.
Beet juice.
No, I never got to use beet juice. That's the carbohydrate. That's the bond. That's the
Beer.
yeah, or that's a byproduct of it. But
Oh, that's cool. that
but
you
it's
do
getting
that.
these other, the guys that have been doing it for 30, 40 years to buy into it, realize it's going to be easier.
Right,
Okay.
There's always the upfront cost, and
right.
I've opened the dialogue so we can start discussing it. But it is also
Thank
part
you.
of his.
Thank you, Jane.
He's got a permit that he has to fulfill. You remember what it's called, Kevin? So
Sorry, who's Jim Smith? Is he?
he's the DPW superintendent.
Okay.
And he's open to it.
Might be related to.
Yeah.
So he's
Quite
open to it.
possibly.
That's awesome.
Very open, because I can't remember the permit name, but it's part of, they have certain criteria they have to meet for the permit.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have to start looking into it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's
So-
awesome.
Sounds good.
Glad you know a lot about it.
Next meeting is Wednesday, September 14th, 2022 at 7 PM. Board of Select Chambers, second floor. Meeting will be held virtual Zoom remote in accordance with COVID-19 safe meeting guidelines. Can I get a motion to, or does anyone else have anything to add to the next meeting?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn at 8:41.
Second.
No,
No, sorry. That was the motion. Motion to adjourn the meeting for tonight at 8:41, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Second,
8:41.
Second,
Pat,
second, third, fourth, fifth.
Colby,
Second, yes.
James, yes.
Joan, yes?
Linda, yes.
And
I just want to stay here for another hour. Kevin, yes.
Kevin, you're more than welcome to sit here as long as you want.
I didn't get my